I want to say and talk from the perspective of a project planner. And I want to dismiss instantly. There is no project which is implementable to conclusion without definite parameters of implementation, clear framework, and sustainability, which is output of a project. In this affordable housing, there is nowhere that we are mentioning sustainability. So the technocrats were not involved in this. A few people with their own passion and quest and thirst that they want to fulfill sat down, coined, and put it on paper. And no wonder it is being sneaked in as a rush. As legislators who are representing the citizens of this country, we know very well that we are undergoing tough times in this country. Even the members of the legislatures in this house are finding it rough, because when we get our pay slips, they are zero, deducted. You can't even understand from where you are coming from and where you are heading to. Yet we are the representatives of the people. This brings me to the question, what about the common mwananchi who is not employed, is not even near Mboga, who can sell even 1,000 shillings per day? I want to say that this kind of affordable housing that we are talking about today, in the objects of the Constitution, primarily, we are saying that fairness is not taken care of. And when we are talking about fairness in this country, when the Constitution is highlighting on fairness, there is no fairness even on the deduction of the employed. There is no fairness of other members of this country on how they are going to foot the taxes. Under the objects of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to say that inclusivity, which is enshrined in our Constitution, is not factored in the framework of this bill that is proposed. Why am I saying so, Mr. Speaker, sir? When we are talking about Mboga, the hustler nation, it is very clear, because I rise to represent, as the county MP of Homa Bay, the PWDs, there is nowhere they are mentioned. We want to say that even the inclusivity is not captured in this proposed bill, because at what point are the youths who are not employed, the women who are not employed, the PWDs who are there? So we are saying framework on inclusivity is missing in this proposed bill. Mr. Speaker, sir, it was very clear that this is a county bill. Yes, I agree. In the same Constitution, there is the interrelatedness of the county government and the national government. Mr. Speaker, sir, that is not clearly articulated in this proposed bill, because we are only seeing in the fourth schedule the aspect of the ownership and the board of management. We are sneaking in the CS, we are sneaking in the CEO, of whom I don't know the identification mechanism. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have 47 counties in this country. Mr. Speaker, sir, the framework of identification of the pieces of land is not articulated. Mr. Speaker, sir, we are talking of a public participation which is purported to have taken place. We know the segments of a public participation. Was there adequacy in the notice being provided? Was there involvement of adequate stakeholder and inclusivity of the same? Was it at the local level of the beneficiary who's going to get it? We only saw a spotted flashlight TV, some people seated with good bottles of water somewhere. Are we talking of affordable houses for Mboga, or we are just imagining of things which are not right? Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to say that this house must hold and respect the court order. In regard of this was already stopped, it was important and necessary that we be firm as legislatures and arm of the government, so that we review what we want to bring in place. Because once we rush it, that we have to do this, then take it to the Senate House for corroboration, whatever, that is wrong. That is misleading, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want to say that I also want to highlight that there is prioritization of needs. Why am I mentioning that, Mr. Speaker, sir? What is this rush of the affordable housing? Yet this country, as a country, I'm bringing on board the issues that the government should address. Education, which is key important. Right now, as I'm speaking, we know very well that our education is in a total mess. If we are a government that prioritizes needs of the Kenyan citizen, why don't we look into issues which are weighty, that when we tell the Kenyans that these taxes are going to go to this kind of development, it is going to improve us. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have issues of water and electricity. What is this rush of affordable housing? Teachers have gotten loans and acquired houses. People have built houses in various towns and go back home. You cannot cheat Mama Mboga. There is no framework on which Mama Mboga is going to acquire this house. There is no framework in which the unemployed border, the youth is going to acquire this house. This is not a priority. There are households who are living in a grass-thatched house, but they are doing business and affording to take their children to school. Let us support them. Mr. Speaker, I'm saying it will be wrong, it will be illegal for this House to accept and propose this bill and pass it through unless we want to take Kenyans into rush. Now, when you're talking of the people who are owning the steel companies in the industries, the big industries in this country, I want to count that the very few population of Kenyans owning those industries. When you walk around, even in town here in Nairobi, you'll find most of the industries we have owned by the Asians, we have owned by the Chinese. The Africans themselves are few in this. Who is going to import this timber from Congo? I want to urge this government to tap the underutilized resources from our counties. Bring in investors and pour in and look for grants to ensure that in as much as affordable housing is moving on, resources are revived so that there is sustainability and increased funding and in terms of improving our cost of living and economic status. Go to Homa Bay, we have a lake. Bring us the industries. Don't open up fish ponds in places where there are no lakes so that we have fish which is not fish that we know very well was found in the lake. Let us have things which can sustain our locals from where they are. We have forests which can be undertapped. We have tourism. We have many things that we can do. Even the people who are employed in the private sectors, when you look at those people at lunchtime, they are very hungry. They have taken Githeri for 10 shillings with being underpaid. And then we are talking about, we want to build this immediately. We want to bring steel. We want to bring timber. Bring from where? And the Kenyan himself is unempowered. I want to say that this House must reject this until the process and framework of implementation is clearly put in place. When it is brought, we shall support and we get that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.